Hi friends, I'm Desueño with Desueño Dance, and I'm bringing you a topic that is near and dear to my heart today, and that is tips on how to become a better dancer. Now, these tips can apply to social dancers as well as studio dancers, and I'll let you know if there's one specific tip that applies to one more than the other. But otherwise, this is my general list and things that I really want for you to consider to keep you moving positively along your dance journey. So let's go ahead and dive right in. All right, my first tip is going to be practice. Right? You thought I was going to say that. I did say it. Practice, but not just what I mean in terms of going to a studio to rehearse, things like that. I mean your own personal practice. With a lot of dancers, I feel like there's this expectation to get everything in class, but then there's not the homework element, I went home and put on the song myself and worked out what it was I was trying to go through. And I feel like that really changes how you learn and changes how you retain material. So for me, I often tell people or ask people, I'm like, so when's the last time you just put on a song and moved to it? Or when is the last time you just let that movement come from your body in an organic way? And to me, that really helps reinforce not only what you're learning, but it helps you to start to develop your personal style, your personal flow, and those things are really important for your dance journey moving forward. One last tip into your practice, friends, is what I like to call solo work, meaning making sure that as you're dancing, there are some things that you know for yourself without your dance partner. So if you're walking through a crossbody lead, that you know your footwork for a crossbody lead, even when you're not connected to your partner. If you are working on your right turn or a double turn or your preps, that you know your footwork. This is for both follows and leads. So it is going to help make you a better dancer, period, if you are very solid in the material that you have to know without being attached to another person. I encourage, like for my follows, to know their body work into their footwork. If you've learned a combination in class, could you go through that combination by yourself, follow, right? Making sure that your body weight is in the correct space, that you have the correct shift and timing, and that your footwork isn't just based upon momentum, that you really know what you're doing. Same thing for leads. A lot of times I've had friends come to me and say, hey, I know this move, but I only know it with a follow. Then do you really know that move? I don't know. But if you can do the footwork and the arm work and what I like to call shadow leading at the same time, do you know that move? Yes, you know that move. Woo! Yes, and then you can work to execute it fully and accurately. Yes, meaning that it happens consistently, correctly. All right. So for both leads and follows, definitely get your solo practice in. And it's also great to get your footwork practice in. That helps with agility, that helps with movement. Yes, that body motion. A lot of times people will see some advanced dancers just like, whoa, look at that body movement. Look at their shine work. Look at that. Yes. But guess what? That's some solo movement. That's that practice that they also put in for themselves. So I do encourage people to take a footwork class, take some of those other classes, a body movement class, things that might not be partnered, but that will work on your own self as a dancer. Here's my next tip. Friends, please make sure you are learning to understand versus learning to memorize. Now, back in school days, there were definitely some things you had to memorize. You're like, periodic table, memorized. But with dance, it's a little bit different in terms of just learning a pattern. That is what I like to call the base level. The second level is learning to understand how a move works, how it interacts with other things. That way you're really competent in understanding the ins and outs, how it really works. So when you're moving through something, make sure it's just not Okay, this was the first part. This is the second part. Boom, boom, boom. Okay, I got it. I memorized it. Great. Because what happens is if you go into a situation with that movement and something changes, or let's say you don't have the amount of space you had before, or you need to avoid a person for a collision, how do you alter that piece in that split second if you're not really understanding? Or what happens with, especially I feel like newer leads who are doing different moves, different combinations, you get to the middle of a combination and you say, ooh, what's next? What was that next move? Ah, and then all of a sudden that combo kind of crumples. Well, if you understood really what that combination was, really what that movement was, then you're able to salvage it. That's a big thing I talk about all the time. You might not end up having the amount of space you think you have. Someone might walk by you. Someone might, interrupt your dance in a different way in terms of spatial relationship, or you might get a different response from your partner or your teammate. Making sure that you understand the movement so that way you can recalibrate and switch things up is beautiful. It's a great skill to have, and it will keep you dancing that much longer. Yes. And even if you're a beginner, I want you to think about understanding that there are options. There are a lot of ways that movement can be put together and connected. So that way, if something does happen, you can understand where your partner is in that moment, what options you have available to kind of redirect that movement or salvage that combination in a different way. And that is really important. Even as a follow, oftentimes what I do when I'm thinking about understanding a movement, well, if I am connected to my partner and following through things, great. It's awesome. But I also, as a follow, I need to be able to identify if something that I'm about to follow might be dangerous or might hurt me, and I need to be able to modify that. And if I understand the movement, I'm able to do that. So those are some things that are really important. And in terms of moving through things, both leads and follows equally need to make sure that they're understanding their movement and have at least a general awareness of what their partner is doing or how they should be reacting to certain things. I think that is a great way to kind of amplify your dancing, because you can have better communication skills that way. The other thing with learning to understand is you're able to dance with more people. You can go ahead and get to that moment, to that point where you're connecting to them on a movement level versus this is a move that's really popular in my area. I feel like every one of the studios in my area teaches this move, and then you take that move and you're like, I'm gonna dance it. And you're dancing with someone from a different place or different country, different studio, and the move doesn't work and you're like, wait, what? Hold on. That wasn't my anticipated reaction, right? That is because that move might have not been in your body in the way it needed to be. So you want to make sure that you are learning to lead, learning to follow in a way that is organic to the movement and that allows you to move forward in your dance journey, right? So if you're really understanding, if you're really able to grasp that movement, grasp it, then you can move forward in your dance journey. Does that have to happen immediately? No, right? But that's the trend. That's where you want to move to. So if you're a beginner, you're like, I don't understand all of this. That's okay. Take it piece by piece. What's the best way to get to your elephant? Piece by piece, right? So take small bites as you're going through of that big, beautiful world that is dance. All right. You might have thought this one was going to be on the list, and it is. Take class. But here's the caveat. Take class efficiently and effectively. So when you're taking class, a lot of times I feel like people are like, okay, I've got the combo, boom, go. I'm like, whoa. Make sure you're picking up any tidbits, any instructions that your instructor is giving you that will help you in that move and in other moves. So make sure you're paying attention for technique, things that your partner is doing in terms of like responsiveness, make sure you're just paying attention to more than just the combination. All right, that's really important. A lot of times I feel like as an instructor, when do you teach some social aspects of the dance? When do you teach some history? When do you teach technique? To me, it's something that you can sprinkle in to your everyday class. So to take a class efficiently, make sure that you're paying attention to those small things and kind of keeping them. The other thing to do is, I want you, even if you were to take, let's say you're intermediate advanced dancer, if you're taking a beginner class, take that class for you. So if that means everyone's walking through the basic and they're learning it for the first time, great. For you, you might want to then focus, how do I really shift my weight? How do I move through that movement dynamically? You might then say, hey, in another class, you're working on some basic maneuvers. Can I focus on my body movement? Can I focus on adding some small isolations to enhance this move? Even if it's a basic level class, you can glean more from it, right? Take class for you. Think about the things that you're working on. For example, if you're working on balance, taking that class, boom, every finishing move, make sure you're using those abdominals correctly. Make sure they're engaged. Check your balance points throughout the class. That way, even if it's a beginner class, intermediate class, advanced class, you're doing things for you that you know you need to work on. All right, take class effectively. Make sure you are clear on your goals. Now, this is something that I do with a lot of my private lesson students and people who come to me for that very first time. And I ask, why are you into dancing? Like, what's your purpose? What's your goal? And that can be something as chill as, I just want to have fun. It might be because I want to meet new people. It might be, I would like to travel and be able to have an activity when I travel. Hey, travel and dance. So there are a lot of things that you can do and a lot of reasons and different reasons that people are drawn to dance and come into dance. Ask yourself that question. Why is it that I'm dancing? And be really, really open to what the response might be. It might surprise you. I've had people say, oh, well, I was going through a very rough time in my relationship and I needed something to kind of take my mind off of it. I've had people dance through grief, which is a whole thing that I think was really positive for a lot of people. Just lost their spouse, just anything that had happened, and they use dance as a way to kind of bring them through the grieving process. There can be any number of ways, but what I want you to think about is, are the things that you're then doing matching up with your goals? So if your goal is to have fun, you want to make sure that everything that you're doing also has that element of fun with it. That way it will keep you in your dance journey longer. Yes. But of course, there's not just fun. There is a bit of work involved with dance. So make sure that you're ready for that. But if you go for, all right, I've got to just work, and you don't sprinkle that fun in, it's going to be very hard for you to maintain, your dance journey. So then you need to make sure that you're sprinkling in a little bit of that fun. But if your goal is to be a hardcore dancer, a boss in the social dance world, then that means you may need to make sure that you're taking those classes, that you're actively social dancing, that you're doing the things that will move you along in your goal. So make sure that you're focused on whatever that goal is, and then take the appropriate steps to reach that goal. Be mindful that you might not just have one goal. It might be a mix of goals. For a lot of my students, it is a mix. And so moving them along in a place that will get them to realize what it is that they're looking for is something that I'm mindful of. And if you are thinking of like what your goal is, how to reach your goal, and you're having some thoughts, definitely ask an instructor, take a private lesson, take a moment to say, this is what I would like to be doing, or this is where I want to be. how can I get there? And take that guided moment to kind of reach that goal. Put in the work. Put in the work. Work, 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 work. Oh man, dancing is fun. It is. But you do have to put in some work. It's really important for dance. I want to make sure that you have at least top 3 things happening, that you're able to dance safely, that you're able to move with other people safely, and that you're able to enjoy yourself or reach your goals, right? For that to happen, I want you to think this is not magic. It doesn't happen overnight. It's not super fast of a process. You will have to make sure you're practicing, make sure that you're going to class, doing your own body work. That's really important. Don't just, okay, I did a move one time and I've got it. Rarely does that happen. And even more rarely are you able to keep that. 6 months later, can you do that move? So friends, putting in work is about managing your expectations and managing how you think results will happen. Sometimes I get new friends into the dance scene and they're like, dance is going to be fun and easy and it's going to make me look like this person who's been dancing for 10 years and has also practiced and has also been social dancing for a considerable number of hours. It didn't happen overnight, friends. So when you're getting into the dance world, do know that you will need to put some work in. You will need to work it out. Will you have fun along the way? Yes, you should. But you should also expect to do some hard work, expect to push yourself, expect to really treat dance with respect. And to me, respect means giving it time, giving it some attention, and also giving it some respect. Put some respect on its name. Okay? Yes, put some respect on it. Doesn't that feel nice? Put in the work. A little sweat equity. That's good for you. Friends, these were just a few of the tips that I have. Let me know if you want more tips in the comments below, and I'd be more than happy to. If you have any discourse around it, let me know. Because more than anything, I want for you to have a positive relationship with dance and to have a positive pathway to dance. So that way, whatever your goal is, that you're moving along in that direction. And if your goal is to watch dance or to just experience dance in a fun way, great. And if your goal is to compete or do more higher level dancing in terms of competition, great. Whatever it is that your goal is, I want you to be able to do so in a positive way, in a way that is renewing and joyful. And that's what Desueño is about. So thank you for joining me, and I hope you check out more of our videos. And if you want to support the kind of work that Desueño Dance is doing, consider joining our Patreon. Bye.